Hi there, folks. This is Sam Price with Probate Notes. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I have a really great guest on. I want to welcome Chris Floyd. He is with EDEX Information Systems in beautiful Jackson, California. Hi there, Chris. Thanks for joining
Hello.
us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm really excited because I use your solution, and I think this is going to be a great program for a lot of our listeners to talk about EDEX mailing service for attorneys. But before we start talking about a mailing solution, can you tell us a little bit about you and your company?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. It's great to be here. I have been in business about 30 years. I used to be in law enforcement, and I learned how to write some computer software back in the 1990s. And I found out very quickly I like writing software, and I didn't like working midnights on the east side with bad days off. So I ended up starting a software company and then going to work for in the insurance industry for a long-term care company that was disability insurer. And during that period of time, I wrote some software for them that was tied to the California workers' compensation system. And I saw a market that needed help and that nobody was creating products for. And I thought, well, if I could create something that somebody might want to use, it might be beneficial. I ended up spinning it into my own company years later. And we've grown and evolved since then into EDEX Information Systems. And we deal with the California State Workers' Compensation System and all of its providers, predominantly doctors, hospitals, government agencies, attorneys. And then in addition to that, we do the document print and mail that you're familiar with because you use the service. And that print and mail service has really been widely adopted by the legal industry nationwide. And that's what we do. We're a bunch of legal tools or service tools that professionals use.
What does your company do about the proof of mailing?
Well, we generate a signed proof of service form. In fact, we have a patent on a process that we patented back in 2012 just for that purpose. And our patent and our processes allow us to sign a proof of service form. We are actually an agent working for you. So when you give us your documents and you give us your list of parties who need to receive that, we print those documents, we mail those documents, we sign the proof of service form. And in certain cases, we actually provide other forms as necessary for certain types of legal process. Certifications to certain courts that are required, like in bankruptcy, for example. And so we, as the mailer, can actually attest that we provided that document. We sent it in the manner that we sent it, whether first class mail, certified return receipt, priority, or any of the other methods that we can accomplish, including electronic in certain cases. And we act as your agent. So I think many of your listeners who may not be familiar with mailing as a service, which is kind of what we term our services, but they're familiar with let's say DocuSign, electronic signatures. And in that world, DocuSign is that third-party intermediary who can legally prove who sent what to whom for signatures, who signed it. And they're your guarantor. So DocuSign acts as that intermediary, and that's what we do for the physical mail world. You give us documents, you tell us who to send it to. When we do, and we give you that certification back. And then if a court ever requests verification, we can tell the court who sent what to whom and when, and we can even regenerate that mailing and an exact version of that mailing for a court if necessary to prove what was sent and to whom. And then I'll take it even one step further if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we track
Yeah,
it. So this is
track it.
something that not everybody can do. And you know, in your world, when you sent that piece of mail that you were sending before with you and your staff is folding and stuffing and sending, and you probably sent those first class mail, as in most cases you do,
That's right.
as opposed to sending them, say, priority or certified mail. So because you sent them first class mail, it's not really tracked by the postal service. You can't tell that piece of mail is in the postal stream, nor can you tell when it got delivered. You can if you buy priority or certified mail. So with us, we actually can track even first class mail. From the time that we produce that mailing and we take it to the post office and we deposit it, that piece of mail is getting scans through the postal system as that piece travels from location to location all the way up to the point of delivery. And we get all that scan data, and we can tell that mail piece that we dropped off at the post office is today in El Paso and tomorrow in Dallas or wherever that piece of mail happens to be going. And so you can see that data in our system just as easily. So we provide not only the source of doing the outbound mail for you, we actually track it to show that it got into the hands of the courier, the postal service, and the postal services, in theory, delivered that piece of mail as well. Mhm.
If I wanted something to be mailed out today, what is the deadline for me to get it to you in order to be mailed out today?
Well, ideally 1 p.m. Pacific time. So in today's world, if you'd had sent something to us before 1 o'clock p.m., we'd have it printed into the post office by 3 o'clock p.m. the same day. And so it's getting post stamps from the post office tracking system as early as 3 o'clock, and then throughout the day to day as that piece moves through from postal center to postal center, which we're already getting tracking information from it. But for East Coast, in particular, we get a lot of customers from the East Coast. And I say this because some of your viewers may be not in California or Pacific time zone, and this applies to them equally as much. We being in California, we're behind 3 hours from the East Coast in particular. So we have attorneys that are on the eastern side of the United States who are practicing certain types of law, who want to mail something at the end of the day and only to find out that they've already missed their postal cutoff. Well, they can still submit it to us and we can still get it in the postal stream today. So 1 o'clock p.m. cutoff in the Pacific time is a 4 o'clock p.m. East Coast. So ideally they can submit as late as 4 o'clock in the day and it's still going to go out and get postmarked today, which is ideal for last minute stuff, say that you have to ship to the IRS or a court or something where it has to be postmarked today.
Right. No, that's perfect. And if you have a lot of addresses to upload, is there a way to easily upload a bunch of, like if I had 60 people that I had to mail this to, that's just a lot of keying in for, uh, what solution is there to like mail to a bunch of people at once?
The easiest solution may come from just doing a CSV file, which can be as easy as exported from Excel. That you can upload that at the time that you're doing your order, and we can import those addresses directly into the order. If you're using alternatively a case management program, let's say there's several of them out there that we integrate with. So one might be Clio. Your users maybe have heard of the Clio product. But there are several that we integrate with that are similar to Clio, Smokeball, Case Friend, Maris Case, and a variety of others. So when you're using an integration partner that's already integrated with us and you create an order, we can just import your address list directly from your matter. So it makes it even easier.
What I did want to talk to and explain also is that I have cases in which I might be the signer of an account that holds a lot of money, and there might be a bunch of people I have to mail checks to because we're distributing in a state. We have an order for final distribution. I want to mail out not just kind of a breakdown of what money came in, maybe even give them a copy of the order so that they have it, and issue a check. Do you have a solution for folks that might want to kind of automate this a little bit?
We do offer check printing services, and it is widely used. Certainly, certain types of attorneys need that more than others. Oftentimes, we find that we're issuing checks on behalf of attorneys who are filing to a court, and they have a filing fee involved with some document that they're filing. And so we can issue the check at the same time we issue the mailing. And then that check data goes back as well to the customer. Much easier than trying to issue a check yourself. But we do allow you to enter some data that would be useful on our side as well as yours. So for example, if in your firm you have certain check numbers and you wanted to just void one of those checks and give us your check number, we can print your check number on our check so that it stays in sequence in your account. And then for other attorneys, they may choose to make it completely out of sequence on purpose, and we can randomly generate a number that won't be in sequence with your check. And that where your checkbook can obviously alert you that there's a check out of sequence and you'll know it came from us. But yes, we do check printing and mailing oftentimes with a lot of the filings and mailings that we're doing.
What would you need to know and to put on the check when you're sending one out? Obviously, the payee, the person who's receiving the funds, the amount,
Mhm.
dollar amount. What other
Mhm.
things would you need for to be able to produce a check on my behalf?
Well, one time, every time you set up a new account with us, if you choose to use check printing privileges, we'll have a form that you'll complete ahead of time that gives us approval to write checks on your behalf. And that includes checking account information from your bank information, check and routing number, and then we'll issue the checks directly from your account. So that is all set up ahead of time. And then when your user who's logged in and is approved to issue checks from that account, which as an administrator, you can define who can and who can't, they have to enter, as you said, the name of the payee, the amount of the check. We can put certain safeguards on there, maybe a maximum value between X and Y, so that they can't send a big check out that you wouldn't have approved if they were not you, but maybe somebody who is one of your employees. You can have multiple different accounts that we draw the funds against, so they get to pick which of the accounts the money's coming from. And then your bank information is already there. The person issuing the check doesn't get to see the banking information. That's all stored. So it's as easy as basically just typing in the amount of the check and who it's going to get paid for, a memo line and a check number. You tell us that information, we can generate your check.